Happy Friday and welcome to another episode of Ask Britt Shit. I am back destroying more of that god-awful sin fire that you may remember from last week. I decided I'm going to try to finish this off. I have about a quarter of the bottle left. Yeah. Also, if you celebrated Thanksgiving yesterday, I hope you had an amazing, rad, fat, yummy, caloric-filled day full of edible substances that made you happy. That should be on a greeting card. No one would buy it, but it should still be on a greeting card. Our first question comes from Marvin Macias. Did I say that right? What is your favorite system to play? Okay, so if we're talking like current gen, that's what the cool kids call it, right? Current gen stuff. I definitely prefer the Xbox One controller over the PlayStation 4 controller. It's just more comfortable. That said, I tend to buy games more for the PlayStation 4 just because that's just what I do. Because usually, and I don't want to start a console war, but generally, you know, the PlayStation 4 is a little bit more powerful. It does things a little more smooth. So it honestly just depends on what game it is and what my friends are playing on. I really have no preference, but if I had to choose between one or the other, for right now, just for purely like power reasons, I would say PS4. However, if you're talking like old school stuff, I would say, you can't go wrong with the Super Nintendo, man. Something about that controller, it's just so nostalgic and it brings back all of the warm and fuzzies. That was my first console, so you know, I have a lot of emotional ties to it. So I will say the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. I don't know if this camera is picking it up, but I have a whole bunch of hairs that are trying to like ruin my day. There's like a whole bunch of like floaty hairs that like are trying to sprout out of my scalp and like infiltrate my life. I don't know if you can see them or not, but they're there. Our next question comes from Michael Corrigan. I was wondering if you like the horror genre of video games, like Resident Evil or Silent Hill, etc. I always enjoy watching Let's Plays of those games. Okay, happy gaming. Well, Michael, if I move to my right, you will see I have a Resident Evil shrine right here. I love Resident Evil. I love horror games in general, but especially Resident Evil. I like all the story and the lore and the characters and the whole like thing with like the facilities and the underground labs and just, I just love it all. So yes, I do love horror. That said, when it comes to like zombie games, I'm good with them. I can handle them. It's like I'm very numb to like zombie horror anymore. It doesn't freak me out. But when it comes to games like Layers of Fear or Silent Hill or Fear or anything like that, that's kind of like paranormally jump scary, dead girl, stringy hair. I can't do it. I need alcohol, but I can do it. But I love it. I love the adrenaline. Something about them. I've always loved horror, like especially horror films. And only recently I've been able to play like horror video games because I've discovered that alcohol helps. And but I've always loved them. So yay! Does that answer your question? Also, if you're interested, I have a whole bunch of Let's Plays of some horror games on my channel. I don't think they're easy to find. They're buried with all my other videos. I got to get better at organizing those. Next question comes from Falling Dove. My question is, have you ever intentionally hit a wild animal with a vehicle? No, that's a terrible question. No, I have not. I know people who have though, and you suck. Don't do that, it's not nice. Our last question for this episode of Ask Britt Shit comes from LJ and Warrior. Fun fact, irrelevant story time. I have a really hard time when I see G's and J's in a sentence and I'm asked, God, sorry, I got distracted by like this hair that's trying to like eat me. If I'm asked to like say the letters out loud, like if we're reciting like a membership ID or an order number, and there's a G and a J in said order number, I always get them messed up and I always get them wrong. And I don't know why, because I very clearly know the difference between a G and a J, but whenever I can't like spitfire it out, like, right? Like I can't rapid fire, like I can't be like, A7679TGJ. It's fucked up. I've always been that way though, so I've learned to live with it. Anyway, LJN Warrior. My question, since you drop your phone a lot, which I do, if you dropped in a public toilet and you got a very important phone call, would you A, reach in and pull that nasty, no! The rest of his comment got cut off on my phone. No, okay, well I'm just gonna assume LJ and warrior that your question was gonna ask, would I reach in and grab it, or would I let someone else like find it, or like would I just leave it there to die and suffer a very miserable death? I would reach in, and in fact, this is something I've thought about, but you know when you're using a porta potty at like a football game or an event or something, and there's a line of 1 billion people behind you, and that porta potty that you are currently in has been used hundreds of times that day. There's shit on the floor, piss on the floor, little men's urinals overflowing, there's toilet paper everywhere. I've always thought, like, what if I accidentally dropped my phone in this thing? Like, if it fell, what would I do? I think what I would have to do is, I couldn't just leave it there. I'd have to like quarantine off that toilet and call someone and be like, you guys need to help me get my phone out. I thought about that. It's a very scary scenario that has played out in my head, and I've had nightmares over it. Thankfully, knock on, I don't have any real wood around here. This is all fake shit behind me because I'm a cheap ass. I haven't actually ever dropped my phone in a toilet before, but if I ever did, I'm pretty sure I would grab it with something. Maybe not with my hands, but I would at least retrieve it. And I would have to, because all of my credit cards, not my credit cards, but my debit card and my ID and like one credit card is like in here. Like this is, I hate carrying purses because I'm not responsible enough, and I like, so you can see all of them. I drop my I leave my purses places, and I leave coats places. I've always lost things since I was little. I can't be trusted with anything. So that's why I know I'll never lose my phone, so I keep all my important shit on my phone. So I can't lose my phone. Because if I did, that would suck. Wow. Does that make any sense at all? I don't even know. Alright you guys, thank you so much for watching, and if you liked this weird video for whatever reason and you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. I would greatly appreciate it and stuff. I'm so awkward. I'm so bad at this. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a great weekend.